The family team at Thompsonstown and Passmore are currently discussing matters relating to children following a divorce or separation. When a dispute arises, one option available to parents is to try and resolve things in mediation. Kirstie Law is a partner in the family team and a mediator, as well as another partner, Desmond O'Donnell. Kirstie is also qualified to see children as part of the mediation process. So Kirstie, I was wondering, how does it typically work when you might involve children in mediation?
Well, the first thing is both parents have to agree to the child being involved, and it would normally be with a child that is able to express their views. Very occasionally, if there is a younger sibling, it seems wrong to exclude them, but they may end up just talking about what they like at school and not getting as involved. But even children as young as 5 can have quite strong views as to what they feel about the arrangements for their parents going forward. And what happens is if both parents agree to the child being involved, I would then contact the child, normally by email, and just introduce myself, explain that mum and dad have agreed that he or she can come and see me, or if there's more than one child, they can come and see me, and that the purpose of it is just to have a chat about how they feel about their future arrangements. And I say to them, if you're happy to come, this is when it's been arranged, but if you don't feel comfortable, just let mum or dad know. Normally they do agree, and actually normally they're very keen to have had the chance to express their wishes and feelings. I do make it very clear to them that this is not about them being asked to decide what the arrangements will be, and that mum and dad might disagree with what they propose, but say to them, look, mum and dad have said they'd like to have the opportunity to hear what you want, and that you might find it easier to talk to me, and then I will feed back. I will only feed back what is specifically agreed with the child. So having had a discussion, I'll then put forward a list of points, discuss that with the child and say, shall we say this, shall we say that? And they will agree the exact message that goes back to mum and dad. And then I would normally see the parents together, whether that's at our offices or on a video call, and read back to them the list that the child has agreed. And it can be in terms of the arrangements, how often they'll spend time with each parent. Sometimes it might be over choice of school, where the parents have got a different view and they want the child to have the opportunity to talk about it in a neutral environment.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. Is every type of matter or dispute suitable to speak to a child, or are there some where it's more advantageous or beneficial and some where it's perhaps not so appropriate?
Well, in the same way as the court proceedings, a child's wishes and feelings are relevant, taking into account their age and understanding. So if you've got a young child that's saying they want to go to school where their cousins do, and that's an hour and a half away, it's obviously not going to be practical. But with older children, particularly in this area, we often have the issue of 11 plus, whether or not they want to sit it, and if they do, whether they want to go to a school that is selective or whether they would prefer to go to a non-selective school. And those sorts of issues can be discussed, and particularly where a child has felt under pressure by one parent, perhaps to do the exam, and is worried. Sometimes it helps them to say, even if I pass, I know that I'm not the cleverest in my class at school. I would prefer to go to a non-selective school and perhaps be in the grammar stream for certain subjects, which is an option as well. So I would say most disputes where a child's wishes and feelings are relevant, it is going to be worth giving them the opportunity to discuss it in mediation, because with court cases, if a judge feels it's appropriate, they'll ask a CAFCAS officer to speak to the child, but there can be a huge delay with court proceedings. You can wait 3 or 4 months to get a CAFCAS report, whereas with mediation, I can see the child the same week as I've seen the parents and then report back to the parents later that day or the following day. So it means they know what the child is going to say. And if it's a case where the court are likely to be swayed by the child's wishes and feelings, much better for the parents to take that into account and come to that decision having had the input from the child, I would say.
Yeah, the speed at which matters can be addressed and discussed is no doubt one of the real positive points coming from mediation, as opposed to, as you say, court proceedings at the moment. Perhaps then, just to conclude, 1 or 2 main benefits as you see them from involving children in the mediation process.
Well, I think, as you say, it's a quicker way to ascertain what their wishes and feelings are. That inevitably also means it's much cheaper, because the hourly rate of charge for mediation is often lower than a solicitor's rate of charge. And of course, that charge would be shared rather than 2 parents each having their own legal advice and paying separately for it. And the fact that you get the wishes and feelings ascertained quicker means that you're not going back and forth with the parents perhaps arguing, and children do sometimes say one thing to one parent, one thing to another, and the advantage of them being able to see a mediator in a neutral environment is that they can say what they want, and often they'll say, I've said this to mum because I know that she really wants me. Sometimes it's an activity that they want to stop and they've told one parent they love it, one parent they don't. There's all sorts of reasons why children feel bad about talking to their parents and almost feel protective and say what they think the parent wants to hear, and explaining to them that mum and dad both want them to have the opportunity to talk freely and then decide what's fed back, I think can be very beneficial.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Well, thank you, Kirstie. And if you've got any questions regarding mediation or resolving child arrangements or any other dispute, please don't hesitate to contact us, Kirstie, or anybody else in the family team, and we'd be very happy to help.